Welcome back to the channel, guys. So glad to have you. Today, I thought we would do a fun little exercise with Neocolor IIs as part of our Mastering Neocolor II series, which is all about different types of ways to use your Neocolor IIs in coloring books. And just as a little disclaimer, so coloring books don't have watercolor paper. So yes, you can use Neocolor IIs in your coloring books, but they are not designed to hold watercolor mediums, so we just need to be a little bit cautious with how we approach it. Today's paper that I'm using is quite thick, so I'm anticipating that it should be okay, but I will be careful as well. Now today we are doing this lovely flowers and leaves page from my mysterious artist coloring book from Kmart, and I believe it's also in Target. So there's no publication information on this other than I bought it from Kmart and I thought, why not do this page here? Now I'm going to show you my color selection today, and there will be chapters in the video, so feel free just to skip ahead to any portion that you like. There'll be segments of real-time demonstrations, some sped up things. I'm going to explain a lot of elements. So I thought it'd be cool to do some watercolor flowers and leaves because I recently did a page in Daydreams. I'll say recently, I mean a couple of months ago now. So what I thought to do today, so these leaves here, I've used Neocolor II and I've outlined them in a Sakura Pen Touch gold pen. Today we're going to be doing the same technique, but I'm going to be using a white Tooly Art paint pen instead for something just a little bit different because I do use gold a lot. So I would like just to not visit gold today. I say that now, but we'll see what we say, right? I'll probably end up with a video and be like, guys, I went with gold at the end. It's just another fun little way to use Neocolor IIs other than backgrounds, yeah, which I love using Neocolor IIs for backgrounds and really excited to have them as part of my toolkit, if you will. Now colors, lilac here, purple violet, purple, which actually looks pink, but it's purple apparently, pink. It wouldn't be an ink and hue coloring video if it didn't have purple and pink, right? Okay, now for our greens, moss green, chromium oxide green, or oxide. Looks like it says oxide there. Anyway, that is what it is. And light olive. And I've got some oranges too. I thought I'd throw those in. Flame red. Apricot. Orangish yellow. I like how they describe that. It's orangish and it's yellow. Desert rose, which I believe used to be called flesh. So you might have flesh, you might have desert rose. If you nip into a shop to buy these, you might see either or, so just be aware of that. So looking at some muted greens, some lovely purples, and some apricot-y oranges today, which I'm very excited about. Alrighty, and the other thing that I have here is just my Caran d'Ache palette. Now I like this because it's got like the gritty side of it, which you can already tell I've been using my Neocolors on there. I left some on for a little bit too long. Any palette will do, or even a plate, if you've got like an old plate or something. I just like it because the wax actually grips to this grippy bit. You can buy them for, I think, about $15, $20 if you like. And I've got my Tooly Art paint pan, extra fine, 0.7 in white. The number is 00. Oop, dropping everything. And then I've just got my water brush. Now I like to use a water brush with the Neocolor IIs because I can control the water a lot better. I prefer to use a paint brush when I'm using watercolor paints in coloring books because I'm using a much finer brush and I can control the water with that as well. So I just prefer to use different tools for different things, different mediums. And I'm also using a microfiber cloth just to wipe the excess water off. If you watched episode 1, you'd have a bit of a rough idea of how I do things. But if you haven't, let me explain to you what I do. So we're going to start with, I think, some flowers first, and I might start with these purples. Put them off to the side there. So what I like to do, usually, and I don't like to say always because there's always exceptions to the rule. Usually, I like to apply the Neocolor to a palette first and then dab in with the paintbrush and go from there. I don't always do it that way. Most of the time I do. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take all my colours and I'm just going to give it a nice bit of a dip there on the palette. So another one. It's getting a lot of pigment there. And sometimes, depending on how big the page is, you might need to reapply it. But I like having these here because not only can you just dip into your colours individually, but you can also mix and match them. Now you may have seen another way to do it is just to go and colour in directly. I am not doing that today. I have done that before and I do that with backgrounds, but today I'm just doing a bit of a different technique and it's just the way that I like to do it. So I think I'm going to start with this flower here. It's probably the easiest. And what we're going to do, so there's two different types of flowers on this page. So I'm going with two colours. So I reckon the purples are going to be the flowers that have these spiky centres. There's another one down there. And the orange ones are going to be these ones that are a bit more layered. So we're going to start with that. Now what I like to do with your cloth, run your water out a bit and just give it a wipe. And I'm going to have to fill my water barrel up. Alrighty, so like I said before, colouring books aren't designed for wet mediums, even though you can use them. There's a lot of us that do, and it's more often than not that we do use them, but we just need to err on the side of caution. So it's a good thing just to remember if you're new to adding wet mediums to paper, you just need to be very careful with your water distribution because you can actually bleed through depending on the paper. It does change per colouring book. So what I'm going to do, try and zoom you out a bit so you can actually see. Let me position everything here so you can see me grabbing bits and pieces. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I've got a relatively, and I don't know if you can see, it's not dripping if I wipe it on my finger, but it is wet. So you don't want it so saturated because you're just going to go bleh everywhere. So just go try and control the water as much as you can, and I'm just going to dip in here. And then I'm going to start from the middle. I'm just dabbing it and I'm just going to wipe off. So for me, if you've watched the first one, you would have seen that I get that in the shot. I just wipe off. It's a constant playing around of what's too much Neocolor and what's, sorry. It's a constant like playing around of getting your water level right, getting that Neocolor II and water ratio to where you want it. Yeah, I could just go over that because it's all going to just be white, and I'm just fanning it outwards like that. And I'm probably going to do a couple of layers. And I'm just dotting it out. Just wondering what that is. That's another petal. Yeah, it's a little bit hard to tell sometimes what it is. So it's just a fun way to use our Neocolors in a little bit of a different way other than backgrounds. I mean, backgrounds are the bomb shiz. Love a Neocolor II background. I will be singing its praises until the cows come home. But sometimes I just like to try different things. And I think with a thing like this, like we don't need to be too neat with it for this particular page because it's more about the fluidity of the design, which is great with watercolor mediums. And if you're wondering, I'm not a certified bona fide professional artist. I'm just a gal who likes to have fun, like to try new things. I like to play around in coloring books and do fun stuff. So we're all just having a bit of fun today, a bit of creative expression. And I'm just going to check how I'm going in terms of bleed through. We should be all right because it's very thick paper. Yeah, it's fine. There naturally always is a little bit of warping when it comes to adding wet mediums to non-watercolor paper as well. Just going to get a bit of that one underneath. Alrighty, nearly done this side. This color, I mean. Just dab it up a little bit. Next color, I like to go up the gradient. You don't have to. Just gonna mix it in because I just want a bit of a variance between light and shade. Usually, if you watched episode 1, I kind of go into detail about when, you know, I would wipe on the cloth when I'm changing colours, etc. However, with this particular page, I'm not really worried about that because I kind of want a bit of a mix between everything. Because I'm not doing like a neat background. It's more fluid. It's just gonna go where it goes. And that's what I like about this kind of style. But if you were doing a background and you wanted a very nice gradient, something very neat, and you were working with a lot of other like bits of elements and line work and stuff, then you would probably wipe your pen every color change so you don't end up with soup. But if I end up with soup today, that's fine. But it's looking good so far. Now you could leave that center blank if you want and just work your way around it. Probably should be a bit careful with the leaves here. And I might leave a bit of a white gap there just so we've got a bit of a difference between this petal and the other one. I'm trying to, in terms of my color placement, I'm just trying to follow the same kind of theory and way that I do it with my colored pencils-ish. So you're just kind of taking the bits and bobs that you already know and that you already put into practice and just applying them to the Neocolor II mediums. I need a little bit more water, so I'm just going to press the barrel but over cloth and I'm just wiping it until it runs clear. And I'm just going to space it out because it always is a bit watery and it's wiping. If it's too watery for you, just give it a wipe. I'm probably giving this page a little bit more water than I would, say, in a Johanna Basford book or a Kirby book, because it is thicker. Now I'm going to go to my third colour, and I'm not wiping the brush off to clean it. I'm just going to go right in, and you can just dapple it around. You go very impressionistic if you like. It reminds me of Monet a little bit. I'm certainly not saying like, oh, look at me, I'm Monet. I'm not, certainly not. It just reminds me. I'm like, oh my gosh, no way. He would be turning in his grave. He would be turning in his grave if you heard me say that. Gonna leave a bit of space at the end for the last colour. Dotting it around. Really just, there's no rules other than I'm just trying to work up the gradient that way outwards. You could do it the other way. But I'm really just playing around with what I feel is nice and what looks cool. Trying to get really, trying to get straight, trying to not go over the lines there, and I've missed a few petals. I'll go back and do those. But all the colours just mush really nicely together. I mainly do this dappled effect, mainly. I just like it, I like the way it looks. I can certainly experiment with like doing big washes of things, that would be cool. And using a paint pen to go over that, potentially. Okay, let's go in and I'm just going to fix these ones up down here. I'm going to go the darker colour. Sometimes it is a little bit hard to see what's a petal and what's something else, but I'm just gonna, I don't know, let's do what I think is right. Okay, now because I'm going from the darkest color to the lightest, I'm actually gonna clear my brush because I don't wanna bring that darkest color up to the edge at the minute. So I'm just gonna completely wipe off and really get that water out and pick up my lightest color and go from there. You could use white, a white Neocolor. I don't have it. I've just ordered it. But pink's fun. I'm just continually going off and grabbing more as it dissipates. Oh, it's a big word. Dissipates. Oh, la da. So fun books to try this technique in would be your whimsical stuff. So Hannah Cole's on. Her paper's really good. So if you're careful, her paper can take it. Johanna's can as well. Small victories I find I found a little bit of pilling, and I know that other people have found a little bit of pilling as well. Kirby's can as well. Kirby Roseanne's can as well. What else have I used Neocolor II in? Mainly Johanna, Kirby, and Hannah's. Just gonna bring it down a little bit. And I find that maybe for you, trying this with Neocolors first might be easier than going in and doing big serious backgrounds. Maybe this way you might feel less worried that you're going to wreck a book. So maybe you could find just a really cheap big book that has big prints like this, and you could just practice your Neocolors that way because it's similar. You could practice all different techniques on it, and I have a practice book that I use if I'm trying a technique for the first time and I don't want to necessarily just go in hammer and tong on new techniques on my colouring books because I want them to look pretty and I don't want to wreck them. But this could be a really good way because it's a bit more fluid and it's less, you know, serious and final. It's like, look how fluid that is. It's just like, bleh. Because I found for me, like once the muscle memory with Neocolors really got in, really kicked into gear, that's when I started to feel a bit more confident. Okay, so that is the first lap or the first layer. Now I usually just do 2. Fine, if I do any more than 2, things start getting a bit chalky, waxy, and I don't want that. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to apply a little bit more colour back to the palette with this dark one. And this one too. That one has enough, I'm fine with that. Whoop, but I'm going to add the lightest colour in as well and add some more. And then I'm just going to go in for round 2 and I'm going to do the exact same thing. You might get to the first layer and go, you know what, I'm happy with that, that's enough. I just want to bring up the vibrancy just a fraction more, just a little bit. I usually do 2 layers like I was saying, it's just habit for me. I just want to saturate it up a little bit, but again, assess how your paper's going. But it's definitely to taste as well. And I think that's a big thing with any medium and how you use it. It is to taste. So you might see me do this way and you're like, oh, hell no. That's, yeah, cool. It's all to taste. There's no one right way or wrong way to do things. It's however you like. Because these are your Neocolors, not anyone else's. You might be insanely good with watercolor and you could like make this look phenomenal and just like not even go over the white lines. You might be full on amazing at it. And you know how to make this look 3D. Again, if you're more comfortable like with drawing on the Neocolor II first and applying it and then just dabbling the water over the top, then by all means do that. It's whatever you feel comfortable with, like I was saying. I just like it this way because I can just play around with it a bit and I can get more of a fluid, random effect. There's some Hannah Coulson books where I've done the first layer drawn on and where I'll like scribble on and then I'll just use the water to blend it in, and then I've done the second layer like this. To me, it depends on the picture, it depends on the actual Neocolor color, because some, as soon as you draw it on and you try and blend it in, you're just going to see the squiggle. And I only find it happens with some colors. Okay, I'm going up to my next color next. Bring that through. Oh, I'm just loving this. I just feel so like the creative freedom, just like, yeah. It's just all those creative endorphins that you get when you just get to jump into something and just play with it. Jump into a project and just free your mind a little bit. There are days for our serious colouring and there are days for just being a little bit childlike, and today's one of those days for me. And I'm not too worried about how this is going to turn out. I would like it to look nice and I'm trying to make it look nice, but I'm not too... I'm just, yeah, I'm having fun, and that's the main thing. That's what matters. It's not about if you're doing it right. It's not about how much experience you have. Next color. And if you want to make it more mushy, just rather than go like, oh, I'm only gonna do it in this section, like just dot it everywhere. Make it more concentrated, say, on the areas that it needs to be, and then just dot it elsewhere. So this is gonna blend so nicely. And the good thing about Neocolors is that they're just gonna be reactivated every time you add water. It's not like other mediums where you wet it and you apply it and then once it's dry, you're done. It's not like that with these. I am looking forward to. I've just ordered a couple of the Derwent Intense pencils to follow a colour along, and I'm a little bit like, eek. Because I know that you got to work quickly. I mean, I am here too, but I know that I could stop, go for a walk, come back, and I could just pick up where I left off. Oh, I just love this really bright pink. This is so pretty. There's a, down here, I'm just gonna make this a bit darker because it's like a, it's a petal that's underneath. Right, nearly done with this colour. I just like to just run my eye over things and just check that I haven't left anything major out. Just some shadows. Again, I'm mainly just playing around. This is just like creative expression. Oh, a bit over here. This one needs doing a little bit, and then I'm going to move on to my next colour. Right. Last colour. This leaf is looking a bit purpley for my liking, but no matter. Just go in a little bit. Doesn't need too much. Mix that in. And if you see any areas that look too harsh in terms of one color to the next, if there's any harsh lines, just blend it. Grab one of the colors that you want, or even just a third color, and just blend it in. Like we were saying, it will reactivate for you. A little bit in there, just a bit of something something. Okay guys, so that is the first flower done. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and complete the rest of the elements in the same way. So every other flower and the leaves with the same method. And I'm just going to speed it up a little bit and put some music on so you can just see what I'm doing, so that we're not sitting here for 50 million hours. And then we're going to come back and I'll walk you through the next step. And as things are drying, I'll just be checking that it's drying how I want, and I'll make any adjustments as I go. So let's do that. Alrighty, thrill seekers, that is our Neocolor II portion done. Now, if you didn't quite catch that blue crayon that I was showing you during the time lapse, here it is here, light blue. And all I've done is I've filled in a bit of the background. It was a bit hard to tell at the start that we had all these gaps, but as I was watercoloring, I noticed them, so I thought I would fill them in with some blue. So now we're going to do our acrylic paint over the top. At this point, if you were doing a page similar to this, you might decide that you like the black lines, so feel free to leave them there. However, for this exercise, I'm going to be covering them up with a Tooly Art paint pen, and again with my extra fine. Now you don't have to use white if you don't want to. You could use some bold colors. You could even use pastel orange and pastel pink. And just as a point too, you may have noticed that I've only done one layer for the orange ones because I really liked the effect that the pale orange has. I feel that the leaves and the pinks definitely warranted 2 layers. However, I feel that the orange has a really different consistency. I felt like I was benefiting from just having 1 layer. So saved a bit of time. So what I'm going to do, walk you through the first little bit, and then I'll go off and time lapse it for you, just so you're not sitting here for 50 hours. So usually with these, you got to give them a pretty good shake just to activate all the acrylic that's in there. I always have just a spare bit of paper lying around as well. I mean, you guys probably know how you use these, but if you give it a good shake, normally it's pretty right to go. So I'm going to jump right in there, and I'm just going to start on the edges, work my way across, and I might give myself a little bit of a break as I go, just so everything has a chance to dry. And I usually find just going nice and slowly does it. The Tooly Art paint pans are really good for this. Bearing in mind too, not so much on the orange, but when we get to the pinks, a lot of the time white acrylic will soak up that red pink pigment. So I'm anticipating some of this white is going to turn pink anyway, so that's all right. I'm just going to get what I get and see how it turns out. I'm not really worried about that. I'm not after perfect white lines, so to speak. I kind of just want everything to develop as it's going to develop organically. And sometimes you might find after a while that the paint pen just starts getting a little bit thin. Just shake it again and reactivate it, and it should be all sweet. Couple of areas that I've gone over the top. There we go. Sometimes you might see a little bit of black poking out. Just gonna do my best to go over it, but not too much because you don't want things to start looking a bit globby. We don't want that. All right, so you get the gist. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do the rest. Alrighty crew, we are done and dusted. Here is my completed page, and what a result. I'm so happy with how the Neocolor has turned out and with all the white lines as well. Now I did have to, with the Tool Out paint pen, because I'm using it so much, I did actually replace the nib about halfway through. So if you do use these pens and you get a little bit frustrated, just make sure that you're wiping the nib clean, you're activating it, you're cleaning it, and then if it does get too clogged, if there's too much dry paint, just replace the nib. The Tool Outs do come with replacements, which is good. So thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you've gotten some inspiration for some new ways on how you can use your Neocolor II crayons. If you love this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and comment below which was your favorite aspect, and if you have tried this technique before. I look forward to hearing from you and seeing you in the next video. Bye for now. Bye-bye.